Welcome, everyone. Welcome to What Sold in August here on Two Dogs Digs Live Hall Pass. Tonight, we're actually got an extra special show. Not only do we have our regular monthly contributor for What Sold, but we also have Adrian Betts, who's joining us because he sold a couple of things and he said, I got some weird stuff I sold. I want to talk about it. So I said, okay, why not? So everybody say hello to, let me go there, to Mr. Carl.
Hey.
And Adrian, also known as Funfer. That's his account on eBay.
Hello.
And of course, we got Rick.
So excited. Sleeping in the basement.
Down in the basement.
Woke me from my nap again.
So a big hello to everybody who's joined us here. Thank you all for popping in on this Tuesday night for our What Sold. Hopefully we'll find a few things in here that you may not have thought about selling before, and it'll give you I never thought I'm going to try that. Or it may be something that you were like, wow, that sells often. In the case of something that Carl might put up because I sell the same things. I said, but that's a really good thing. Or you might find some idea buying something to sell, like Adrian's going to show on one of his, which is a weird one that he's actually sold and done quite well with. We also have a little story because there's a little sale. I never know where to point on this. I got to go. A little sale that this guy did down in the corner here that we're going to talk about a little bit halfway through. Not a sale, a purchase that he purchased.
Me?
But the reason we're talking about it, he purchased it because of this guy. It's something that Carl made him look for, and that's why it's sort of we're doing our Brady Bunch thing today. So.
I can't do it. Like I've been on the social so many times. I still
don't do it right because it's always backwards. I'm always pointing at the wrong thing. Carl was first in. Hey, Linda. And who else we got here? Janet. Thanks for joining us, Janet. And Tina's looking up Care Bears from 1983. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Nellie. What else we got? Heather's in here. Kathy. You just ordered 2 of the Roosevelt shirts. Good for you. I just ordered 3. And Adrian just bought his first one, so... Let's see.
What can I say?
Shipped with extra insurance and confirmation for $21. No taking chances it was going to an apartment. Okay. Kevin, hello. And I also got Donna. Hey, Diana. Hey. Who else we got in here? Mr. Greg and maybe Kathy watching. Elisa. Hey, Tamara. I hope you're still selling because she was selling. Hey, Sherry. Thanks for popping in as well. Hey, Road Runner. And who else we got in here just in case I haven't missed anybody else. So thanks everybody for popping in and joining us. So it's our monthly What Sold this month. So I thought I'd start off actually with something that What Sold today in minutes, just as a little thing to think about. So I just happen to have done some, and in case you're noticing, I am wearing white, and that is because it's
after Labor Day.
After Labor Day, but I'm a princess, so I thought I could still wear my white shirt even though it is after Labor Day. But first sale I'm going to talk to you about is actually one that we were down in the States this past weekend. And when we were down in the States, we did some looking around. Didn't get a lot of stuff. Went into one a thrift store, a Goodwill actually. And just as we got in there, they were rolling out a cart. And on the cart, it was filled with DVDs, like tons and tons of DVDs. And most of them were TV sets of DVDs. Almost all of them all opened. And I'm looking at the boxes of them, and I started looking at them, not scanning, like looking them up on eBay. And I see one, and it was a boxed set of Perry Mason. I thought, well, who would want a box set of Perry Mason? It's such an old item. I was thinking, who would actually be looking at something like this? And it literally, there, Rick's holding it up actually, so you can see it right there. So it's like, who would want this? Perry Mason on DVD? I mean, old classic, that sort of thing. But we decided that we would pick it up. We listed it today, literally. So we brought it home on Sunday night. We took a picture of it this morning. We listed it this afternoon. And in less than, I think, 15 minutes, maybe, there it is. It's sold for $58. So, boom, out of here. Now, the other people were offering it, and the solds were in the $60 range, 60, 65, things along those lines. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to just put it at the 60, like 58.88, including free shipping, because it was close to what everybody else is putting. So I thought, let's just do that. And maybe it'll go relatively fast. Didn't think it would go that fast, but I'm happy because that's a really quick $50 flip.
And it's dead simple to ship.
Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Rick.
It's dead simple to ship. I think it'll fit in an 8x8x8 box with a little bit of padding on one side.
Nice.
And Carl, when I mentioned it to you, Carl, you said it was like TV DVDs are something that you should potentially look up when you're looking at those sort of things. And there's like, So Andrew's saying classic types sell really well. It's interesting though, because we've had other ones like Mary Tyler Moore season 1, 2, and 3, and we can't even get rid of that for $10, right? Kind of thing. So it's really, you have to. Nellie still watches Perry Mason, and there is a remake of it. Roadrunner likes that, and Greg, not on purpose, has never seen an episode. So maybe Greg bought it so that he could watch all 271 episodes. I don't think he's going to watch
all 9 seasons.
All 9 seasons in a row. I thought I'd also just start out by showing you a couple of things that we talked about in the hey Michael says that the remake is actually good on that. Trailer Park Boys used to sell. I haven't seen that one, but again, I saw these as the sealed one, so I thought I'd better look it up. The other thing I just wanted to show you is we talk about things like in the Thrift It or Throw It, stuff like that we pick up, and I wanted just to show you that things like that do sell. So I'm going to pop this on here for a second. You may recall I found this Ninjago thing, and it's actually like it's just an album, and almost everybody said, don't buy this. Why would you buy this? It was, I think, $3.99 or something like that, and it's a card holder, but it was sealed in the package, and we put that up, and in less than a week, we ended up selling that for $30 plus shipping. So it was a good, quick $20 profit on there. And the next thing that we also sold was, this took about 2.5 months. This was the Hammy Hamster clock. So it's a clock that has a hamster that runs around and makes it go. And again, I think it was one of those 90% of everybody in the thrifter store said throw it. And I was like, nope, I bought it. Why? Because I bought it for $7.99. And we actually sold that for $65 US. So you never know what's out there. But I mention it because we have bought stuff, and I just want to prove to you that we buy things in the thrift store to throw it, that a lot of times everybody says, no, don't do it. And yet we've actually sold a couple of them. So I just thought I'd show that to you guys here. And Donna she just bought sealed Ninjago because of us. I love it how people blame me.
It's so easy to do.
It's so easy to blame me. The hamster actually was in the wheel. It actually was what made the clock move. And it was brand new, never been used. So, and I couldn't find a single comp for it. I just thought it was so neat and retro color-wise and everything like that. I thought, oh, Greg bought a Funko. Again, probably because of me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I know Adrian has not. We went to Comic-Con, Fan Expo, and Adrian actually said that I said, oh, well, look at all the Funkos. There were so many Funko pops everywhere, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And I thought actually, Adrian, that you had never owned a Funko and Pop, and you told me that you do own a couple. And Rick has told me that I'm never allowed to buy them for me.
Exactly.
I'm allowed to buy them to flip, but I'm never allowed to buy them for me. And I was like, okay.
I did give it that crap.
Tamara's like, yay, on Ninjago. I was one of the few thrifted votes. Yeah. So there you go, Tamara. Got it right. So let's start off, since we got Adrian here and Carl here. We're going to start off with both of them. We'll start off with something of Adrian's as a first one. So this is something that is, I got to put this up because Adrian was bugging me about this. So Adrian, this is my pal Violet, your leapfrog. Now, do
y'all remember that challenge that Craig issued sometime last year? Now get an animatronic toy and then see how you do. That thing did not move, could not move, would not move. And I just wanted to say that I finally sold it. But guess what I got for it? Nothing. It was bought by a person who had zero feedback. And she loved it, but she left a neutral. Because she didn't know about it. So yeah, I got my first ever neutral ever on eBay from a first timer who bought a toy for her daughter that the daughter loves, but
But you bought because of me.
yes, I'm not doing gay. Screw your challenges, Craig Wilson.
Craig's responsible for the neutral.
You can actually request them to revise it if you want, or or you could just leave it. It doesn't affect anything really at the end of the day. So
No.
Let's see if I got something in the same world. Well, if this isn't this is kind of interactive, and it's something that actually is one of Carl's. So Carl, this is my version of your interactive. This is a UFC Octagon playset.
I wanted to show this because it was in my desk pile for like 5 years.
Oh wow, that long?
Yeah, or 4 years, whatever. And I was so happy. It's like, why am I holding on to this damn thing? It's huge too, eh? You see how lazy I was? Just throw it in the light box and go. I didn't even bother opening up the other plastic pieces. I was just like, if I don't list this in under 10 seconds, it's never getting listed. And then I got one guy who would send me low offers like every month for like 6 months. I kept saying no, and then someone finally offered me 60. The nice thing too was I know everyone else probably. I think I sold it for 60. I can't quite remember, but what I liked is I didn't know you could send offers in the messages where they can accept it. I didn't know that. And so it's like I send it. It's a send an offer right here. And it's like, oh wow, they can do it. I don't have to go in. I don't have to change the price. I don't have to add best offer because I used to do that.
Yeah, that's actually something that's relatively new that you can finally do that. So when someone is messaging you on eBay and when you got your phone out there, you could say, oh, if you see that they've got an interest, you can do like the 10% off, or hey, what if I gave it to you for $5? Depending on how you do it. I handle those sometimes in those kind of questions. I wait and see if there's a conversation that can build before I send an offer back. So if they said, hey, I got a question about this, and I go, this is the answer, and they go, okay, I got it. Then I go, okay, now you're nibbling. You're nibbling on that little thing. So I'll throw out the 10% now, and that usually does sell it quite well. The other thing, actually, I just mentioned to Carl right at the beginning was this is something brand new. Is now literally, I think this is only like, if anything, it's a couple of weeks old on eBay now. When you are actually doing something, let me switch Carl and me. You now actually can send. You could send multiple offers or offers in bulk from your desktop. That was never a problem, but you could never do it on your phone. So when I'd sat there at night, I used to say I'd wait till I got like 50 or more, and I'd go in and I go, okay, one by one by one, I'd be sending. Well, now officially, you can now send offers in bulk. So it literally goes into your actual items that you have potential for offers, and there it lists everything there. I got 143 because I haven't sent any offers lately. And then you can select as many as you want. You can click there and collect all 25 or select it at once, and then go to send offers. And when you get to the send offers page, you can actually in there, you can allow counter offers. You can take a percentage. It always has to be a percentage though, because you're going to be working with all sorts of different priced items. So you can't say $5 off when one item is 125, one item is 15. So you have to do it as like 10% off or 15% off or anything like that. Tina says, I just send one at a time. There. I still send one at a time. I'm just happy about that because I actually do a search on it. And when I searched, I can actually go into those, go, you know what? I'm trying to find all the ones that are over $75 that I have listed. And those I can now just go, boom, 20% off on those. The ones that are under $20, I can go, okay, I only want to offer 10% off because it's such a little amount, things like that. Elise is saying, those fish that nibble, eat your bait, just takes time off the bait. Most of the time, well, sometimes it's hard. I guess it all depends on what the actual item potentially is in that case. So I'm going to pop into something. And the first one I'm going to show you from our sales is actually something on Etsy. We only had one sale last month on Etsy. We only have about 45 items up there right now. We've been sort of purging and trying to rearrange everything. So we're going to be putting a lot more stuff up on Etsy shortly. But our one sale from Etsy this year actually was something that was this upsy downsy set. This is a toy set that is from the 1960s, and it will load at some point. There we go. And this actual set, we had a bunch of them we picked up on Max Sold, and They were like complete. They had all the pieces to them, and it's this weird kind of acid trip toy that was done by Mattel because everything in the world is like upside down. It's so freaky. But we actually put those on there, and we put them on eBay for $75. We put them on Etsy for $95, and actually you can see on there this sold for the $95 on Etsy. So that's the one thing that people have always said. I know Lisa Boland's always been one of the people who mentions that. It's like different audiences are in different places, and I know right now Adrian, you don't do anything on Etsy, and Carl, I don't think you do anything on Etsy either, do you?
I have one thing.
You have one. So especially in the toy world, because that's actually some of the stuff that we've been selling, and we've been selling it a little bit higher. So it's one of the things to consider, because you'll have your pictures done, you'll have your description done. So it's just a little bit extra work to try and learn how to do Etsy, look at the tags and things like that. You don't even have to do tags if you really don't want to. Donna says, I find I can demand more on Etsy. Yeah, it's a little bit different audience. It's not, there aren't that many people comparative surfing eBay to Etsy to Mercari to Facebook. Like, they're just going to the place that they know of. So Roadrunner says you can usually get more on Etsy. We've done that. We've done well with a few things on there. Plus there's other things you can put on there, as long as it's 20 years old or older. So 2000 vintage, 2003 is vintage now. Like
5 years ago.
That is crazy.
2000, that's disgusting that is considered vintage now. Let's pop on to something else from Adrian in the same, well, not it's the same kind of world at all. This is a Wild West action set. And I never know, Adrian, how to say this. Is it Britons? Just plain old Britons.
Plain old Britons. This is my wheelhouse. Toy soldiers have been my bread and butter for a long, long time. And this I actually sourced from eBay. It was a buy it now for $16 with free shipping. So I said, I'll have that. And then I flipped it.
Nice. Yeah, great. There's a lot of really good photos there too. You're very good with making sure people see all of the things in the photos.
Toy soldier people are finicky. They want to make sure, is that an original saddle? Is that this? Is that that? Right. So this shows lots of detail.
And you flip.
But the big thing here, the big thing that earns the money on this, if you keep going to one more picture, Craig. Oh, you lost it. Go down the bottom. There, it's that thing right there. That is where the money is. This little piece is the little rubber things, which are the blinkers for the horses, and the traces that attach the horses to the wagon. And if you have any Britain's Wild West vehicles, and they made hundreds of them, thousands of them, the first thing to break are those things. So you attach those rubber things to the metal parts of the wagon, and they clip to the horse's butt, basically. And that then
they clip in there.
Yeah.
And the blinders for the face.
Yes, blinkers are for the face. So that alone, you can sell that alone for $50. So this boat was probably bought by someone for that, as opposed for the thing. But again, I bought 16 and flipped it for $67.88.
Now, did you know when you bought it that was actually in the package, or were you surprised when you got it?
Yeah, no, I knew it. It was the guy put it out there, but he opened it up and then it had fallen out, and it was just a bit of it was sticking up the side of the box. And so I was like, "Oh, I'll have that. Thank you very much."
That's a good flip, $50 from sourcing something on eBay to then flip on eBay.
Yeah, well, I do that a lot, right, with Max sold and eBay and whatever. And there's another thing tonight, which is also a Max, also an eBay purchase.
Carl, I've thrown those bits out.
Don't throw those bits out.
Oh no! Yeah, I had no idea what they were.
And now you do.
No, I do. Oh.
No, they're the most important bits.
Yay, Don says congrats. Well, yeah, there's a lot of those little things that just sort of come up out of the blue. But just because you threw those away, Carl, you didn't throw this away, which, again, I might have.
Oh, yeah. So this is on the baggy wall, my favorite place in the store. And this is just one of those things that screen quality, you know, like there's so much.
Oh, my God. King and Country is a very well-known toy soldier thing. Nice score.
Oh. Yeah, see that I didn't even know, but I could just tell when looking, it was like an old chintz kind of stuff you see on the baggy wall. And yeah, if this was in better condition or with the box, is worth a lot. But yeah, it's a good, obviously you know it, but it's a good name to look for. Yeah, I was very happy with. I'm sure I paid like $5 or something.
$45 for something like that.
It's easy to ship, and it's small. My favorite things. Yeah.
And again, kudos on your photos, because you've done a lot of really good photos, as Adrian was saying, for people who are picky about these things. You might not get $45 if you weren't making sure that you've got that. You got 24 photos now you can do on eBay too. So there's no reason why you can't make sure you've got all those. And like somebody even looking at this, I go up one, where is it? You can see all the little flaws that are in there. So if somebody's thinking about it and they say, oh, this wasn't how I thought it would be, you've got so many detailed photos in there that it's really easy for somebody to go, okay, I see something in there. It's like, no, that you can see that break or that crack or that thing in it. It's like, Adrian, I'm sure it's the same way with you when you're looking at them either as a buyer or as a seller.
Yeah.
As a seller, if somebody says this wasn't like that, it's like, no, look at my tons of photos that show you that like there was a rub on the nose, the paint on the nose or something along those lines.
I don't think I've ever received an INR for that, for not being descriptive. I've sent stuff that broke or didn't work, but not for major damage. Because if there's damage, I'll show one picture just showing that specific damage on it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't really got anything that's in that sort of toy soldiery kind of thing that I can show. So mine is actually something that we talked a little bit about this actually a couple of other months, but it's like I did flip it. I did buy it. It was a Wicked Witch of the West plate. And somebody, we were talking about it, I think it was in Thrift It or Throw It, where it's like, don't buy plates. No one buy plates. Don't buy collector plates. Except for Wizard of Oz. That was one that somebody said, no, buy Wizard of Oz. And there was one other that somebody said, I can't remember what it was. But they're not
all.
This was like, I think $2. It was not a big seller. And again, this was your mom's sort of world of the witch casts a spell, commemorative plate. And this is the thing that I always think is the big thing that people used to think this was what made things worth so much money. The Wizard of Oz is limited to a total firing of 14 firing days. That doesn't mean it's limited to 14. It doesn't mean it's limited to 1,000. It's however many people. There are hundreds of thousands that could have been fired in these 14 days. So much so that all I could get for this was $15. And it cost us a little more than the $9.50 to ship. But
it did.
Flying Monkey still. Greg said Canadian military plates are okay if you can get them cheap. Yes, that's true. And I guess Lisa's saying is not as described in ad.
Item not as described.
Item not as described. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what. I'm not sure what that means. And then I don't know why Donna's doing. Oh, okay. I started singing "To Do Run Run." That's terrible. But that's what I was like. Run. And so that's the wrong one completely. Now we're gonna take a little diversion, and this is the Rick time for Rick. He's like, oh God, like you wanted to do this, so
you're gonna put me on the spot.
I'm gonna put Rick on the spot. So this is. I'm gonna turn this. So this is when we were out, and this is actually something we were on one of our trips to a Goodwill. Oh, good. At least I thought it was Baby Shark. So like we're both in that. Neither one of us went to the Wizard of Oz. So
this was in advance of our Madison Bookville trip.
Okay.
So we went to Buffalo.
You tell me when you want me to put the photos up.
Okay. So we were in one of the thrift stores. I can't remember if it was a Salvation Army or an AmVets. Might have been an AmVets. It was very, very sparse on the shelving. And there were 3 or 4 grumpy old people wandering around, sort of being in my way. And I found something on a shelf and I was sort of saying, that's kind of interesting. Carl had actually said something about looking for pieces that might have or say quality. So basically, I found this.
Oh,
It is Capodimonte, I think it's called.
Mhm. Yeah.
It has the little mark.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is by Giuseppe Armani. It's a
I'll put the pictures up,
limited
Rick.
edition.
I'll put the pictures up for you.
Okay. It was lying on top of a box like that.
That was him sitting there in the electronic section.
someone dumped it.
Yeah, so I picked it up. It was priced at, I think, $7.99.
Yeah.
I mean, it has all of the marks of being a quality piece. It's quite heavy.
Yeah.
It
Now,
had the little Made in Italy sticker on the back. I was chasing Craig around the store saying, I'm going to buy this.
Oh no,
because
yeah, he was, and I was like running away, going, "Why are you chasing me with
It's like,
Jesus?"
no,
like,
why are you
no.
buying religious things?
He already had bought 3 nativity sets, so it was like
Hmm.
another Jesus. Like, we don't
Yeah.
need another. And this is the thing that I think was the Carl comment, because
Yeah.
I think you showed one of these
Yeah.
in one of your what solds. And
Yeah,
it was, I said, this looks like a cheap little piece of plastic kind of thing. And you went, no, look for Armani. And I was
Yeah.
like, really? Well,
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
that's the label that's on the side of this, number 4,855 of 10,000. And there's the price. There's the little Made in Italy sticker. It was Goodwill.
Yep.
And this is him just sitting in our car. Now, I will say, he has a broken toenail
Yes, he has a teeny tiny itty bitty chip off his toe.
right there.
I think that was his last of the Bruce Worries at the time, but you know.
But this is what blew me away. This is the average solds.
So that particular one?
This exact one, from $247 for number 5,000 to $190
That's nice.
to $300 to $550.
Wow.
Crazy.
And that is literally not even a year old.
Yep.
October 6th of last year, that sold for $550. That exact one. But he didn't have a broken toe.
I found a couple as high as 650 on WorthPoint. So I'm using the way they described it on WorthPoint to do our listing.
So he's been waiting. He wanted to do the listing, and he said, I want to do the listing in last week's like Thrift or Throw. I said, oh, we missed it. They said, I want to do the listing, so I want to do this in this show so I can get the damn thing listed. It's like, yeah, we have to get that listed. So, but again, that was
not Giorgio.
That was a Carl, that was that reference again, because when I look at something like this, I immediately think of a lot of cases. I look at this and I think this kind of looks like plasticky cheapy.
It looks like something you get at the dollar store.
Especially with this little sort of thing that looks like it's been stuck on by somebody who made their own version of it.
It's because it's bisque pottery, it's bisque porcelain. And so bisque can look really, really cheap.
Which is, again, it's just surprised me because I had no clue why he was chasing me around. And
I think also, like, if you have it in your hands in real life, it, like, you know, you're just saying, Rick, like, it screams quality. It doesn't. It's like, if you see it on a picture, it might not look as nice, but when you actually see it, you can see that they put time into it. I can't remember what it was I sold. Like, I think for me it was birds or something. So it's not necessarily religious ones. But I know I've been told before crucifixes and like this sort of thing can sell really well. But honestly, I've never come across one.
Actually, Heather, a lot of the ones that are listed and sold don't have the original box with them. So I'm not too fussed about not having a shipping box or the original box.
One with a box here. But yeah, a lot of these others don't say box anywhere. Don't show a box. That one is $375 in the box, but that actually looks like it might be a little different. So
what are you going to try to get for it with the damage?
Probably $4.95. Craig wants me to list it lower, but I want to start high because you can always come down.
I said I wanted to just start it at like $250.
Mm.
Now, when we were in line, he's holding on to Jesus, and this woman in front of him turns around and goes, "Oh, Jesus! Oh, isn't that a..." And she taps her daughter, hits her, like smacks her daughter. "Look at the beautiful Jesus." And her daughter goes, "I know I had it, but it's so expensive. I picked it up and put it down."
Oh, she's the one who put it down. Yeah, it totally looked like someone had.
And I was just
right?
biting my tongue going,
section.
"Tell her it's a $500 one. Tell her."
No.
And yes, Jesus was twice as much as a latte, but
Actually, no.
okay.
Craig, no. Remember we went to Dunkin' and you complained about how much
Actually,
your
that's true.
colada
My
was?
salted caramel cold brew cost me, for an extra large, cost me almost $7.95 Canadian for a drink of I was like, oh my God, it's so expensive.
So now we can list that. I'm going to price it higher than Craig wants us to. And we'll accept offers on that in about a week.
So with Christmas coming up too, and that's actually another thing that we want to talk to you about. We'll talk about this a little bit more next week because it's the holiday season is coming up. We've started seeing in our thrift stores, we're starting to see Halloween stuff start showing up in the thrift stores. We're starting to see a little bit of Christmas stuff start showing up in the thrift stores. So you want to start focusing on getting your Halloween, your Thanksgiving, your Christmas stuff. Start getting it listed in September. I know last year we were bad. We started listing and then we stopped and did a bunch of other things. And then we got to November and realized we still had bins of Christmas that we had. So time to start looking for that stuff as well. So keep your eyes open on the Christmas stuff when you're going to the thrift store, because there's some good stuff. We've already picked up some stuff last weekend. We picked up some Christmas stuff that'll be in a potentially upcoming thrift store throw it. So, but we were looking. I was looking at all this. One Value Village had like an entire row. The entire like end to end of the row was all Christmas and Halloween. So it gave me a lot to look at while I was there. Let me go to something that is a little different for Carl, which is a camera.
So before the show, I was saying, it's like, oh my God, it's the same thing over and over again. But these cameras, you just can't leave them behind. Like, I even have one like right in front of me or somewhere. You know, the people, they donate these things, and you know, even if it's $50, it's just so little work. But I was desperate this month to show stuff. But yeah, camera, good. I think, what was it, 50? I think, I can't remember. Oh wow, no, that was good. That's a good amount. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's easy to, I haven't had any returns. I don't fully test them. Like, it's not like I'm gonna sit there and develop the film. I don't worry about it. I just check the basic functionality. There is some knowledge to testing cameras. I highly recommend it though. Like, some of the really good resellers I know do a lot of cameras because they're just, you just find them. Like, people there at garage sales, at estate sales, they're at the thrift stores. It's not that rare thing that you're never going to find.
Yeah, so much of the stuff that used to be, because so many people are just using their phone now. They're like, what do I do with this old sort of thing? Yeah. We actually just found in a box in the garage. We're getting ready for another Mac sold. And I found a camera sitting in there. And I was like, oh, it's a digital camera from a couple of years back.
HD,
and plugged it in, put it in the charger. It works. Looked on eBay. It's like, people are buying these with the charger. Like, we got everything working on them. And they're paying $40-$50 for them, and they're selling like regular. And it's like, wow, I never would have thought this little digital camera would still be worth something to somebody. But we're going to be putting it on probably in the next couple of days or so. Lisa said she's been selling Christmas patterns this week already. Cool. And Elisa sold an 8-foot animatronic Frankenstein. I hope you weren't shipping that.
Oh my God.
Lisa also mentioned look for Halloween costumes and vintage too. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. I think that's what we'll do. Our next week's show will be a little bit about the holiday coming up and things to keep an eye out for there. Even though we did do Christmas in July, we'll talk about that again. Lisa says she has a SLR in a funky bag under her dining room table. So get that listed. Get that thing listed. But again, when Carl was saying it's like stuff that he's done, it's interesting that it's things that he's done, but they're still, it's a consistency. So Carl, I was saying this to you, you kind of go, oh, I got the same stuff. It's like, but there's a really good thing with that. It's just like Adrian does that with his action figures. There's a consistency versus sometimes some of the stuff we sell, which is so one-off, that we don't really have all those consistent items. So it's really nice when you can find something. And speaking of a one-off, here's one of Adrian's baggy finds. Yes, a baggy find.
Because I don't know what they are in the chat. Because I bought them at a baggy wall with 2 party light candle holders, which I knew I could flip. And I thought these were just garbage. There was just 3 of them. And I'm like, that's not a full set of spice things.
So
I was going to donate them back.
You bought these because of the party light candle holder.
Yeah. And then I saw the back of them. I'm like, oh, I should just look and see what if they are anything. And sure enough, there's something. And so I listed them, and they sold in 7 minutes.
Oh wow!
7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that he didn't know what they were, and he was going to donate them back.
I didn't look at them. They were just. I thought it was weird.
Those eyes are distinctive, aren't they? Like
yeah. But they're apparently highly collectible.
Wow! Awesome.
Cozy.
I love
That's-
when you get a baggie and the most valuable thing is not what you bought the baggie for. It feels so good. It feels so good. Yeah.
A 7-minute, $130 flip. And that's 138 US. So Canadian, that's
I'd
like
already made $26 on the party light.
and the part
So the baggie was only I think $4.99, and I used a $2 coupon. So it was $2.99.
Awesome.
$3 or $4, and you flipped them for close to 200 Canadian.
Yeah, but I
Probably
was surprised. I had no clue. It was
That's so
a
good.
pure horseshoe up my ass, Craig Dawson.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's so good.
So it was like, put them on Etsy. They're already gone. She said, oh, you priced them too low. Well,
I know I did, but I wanted them gone.
He's like, if you want them gone, just like I probably could have priced that Perry Mason a little bit higher too. But hey, Angry Otter Comics is here. Halloween, September is all about decor. October it's about the costumes. Yes, because people want to make sure they got their stuff up that's going out, and then they want to put the stuff on a little later on. So Lisa says she's amazing they weren't chipped in the baggie. And Heather said the party light sold too. And you're like, yep.
They do well for me. I see party light. I often pick them up.
See, I actually have never picked up party light. That's an interesting thing. We always say
party light, and then I check comps, and it's like, nah, it's not worth my time.
One thing that sometimes is worth your time is doing a little checking on something. So we had a box that had a whole bunch of Nintendo Power magazines in it. And I thought, oh, okay, we got this Nintendo Power magazine. And we've been selling the Nintendo Power magazines, no problem. In fact, one of our Nintendo Power magazines we put up, and I think we got bids of close to $400 on this one thing. But when afterwards I realized they were in holders. So they were in these little, basically cardboard magazine holders.
It's like plastic cardboard.
Plastic cardboard magazine holders that said Nintendo Super Power Club on them. And we have 6 of them because that's how many things we had. Well, I did a little search on this, and you would never, I don't know. Personally, I didn't think there'd be any value in these. I was wrong. $148 plus $25 shipping because we had to send them unfolded because we didn't want to fold them back up again.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure. So it was quite a large box. It was bigger than the 12 by 12 by 12. We got positive feedback. But you would never, I would never think that some magazine holders would sell for that much money. They were up a little, they sell on average for $25 to $40. But what I thought about was I thought somebody is going to want a bunch of them for their collection. And they're not going to want to have to buy one here and one here and one here. So I upped the price by about $35 versus what other people were getting for singles, thinking somebody's going to want all of them at once.
And I found a box that fit all 4 of them perfectly, and I braced them with pool noodles so they wouldn't shift in the box.
And Diana is now smacking herself in the head.
Well, I'm in that club. We have a club of 2 so far, throwing out valuable things.
Look at that. Oh my god, amazing. Holy snaky. Yeah, it's not the sort of thing you would normally think about. So you always now, it's one of those things I always say, you look up every little thing you've got. When you get something, if it's in a box, look the box up. If it's not in the right box, you might be able to sell the box, but not like I look up everything now, and this is sort of the reason why. You don't want to have thrown out $200 worth of stuff into the recycling bin to find out that you could have actually flipped it for pretty good money. Let me see. We got another one. We did that from Adrian. But here's another. This is another, because Adrian, there's a few things. This is another lovely thing I wanted to because this is one of your other stories that you were like, I got the cats. I got to tell you about, and I got something else I got to tell you about. And there's no other way to do it other than go, here you go. The floor is yours.
These are nuns, and they are 54 millimeters high. And what they are, they're Canadian. They're made by a company called Accoutrement, and they're the exact same size as toy soldiers. And so I found these on eBay in the crafting section. And a woman sold me a bag of 100 for $11.
100 for
$11.
$11. 100 nuns. So you bought an entire convent.
Yeah, a convent, entire convent. And I listed them. They've been up now for about well over a year. And I put up with different types of toy soldiers next to them because they're good for any era. Right? The Wild West with Sister Sarah, right? And you can do World War I, II, and III, and Vietnam, and they're good for everywhere.
Yeah, the wimples haven't changed much.
Yeah. Subsequently, they're Carmelite nuns, and Carmelite nun is a Carmelite nun, and
I love the little mini dioramas, and that's what you sell the set of 4 as.
I sell them individually, one a piece for $9.99.
Sorry, I was going. Oh, you sell them for what?
What for what?
You sell them for 1 a piece?
1 a piece. Oh, $9.88. Sorry, but nice. It's a discount for 2.
And you've sold 18.
No, this is the 4th listing. I've sold them in groups of 25. This is the last one.
That's so good. I love repeatables.
Yeah,
it's so easy.
If you ever find accoutrement nuns,
so you've basically had a listing of 25 sold out, a new listing of 25 sold out,
correct.
A new listing of 25 sold out, and the last 20. And you're almost sold out.
I kept one for myself, and I gave one to someone who came up to pick up some soldiers from me, and he saw me. Oh, I have one of those. I'm sure you can. I have it for free.
Cool.
It's a gift.
So you only have 2 nuns left available. So if
I have 2 nuns left for sale.
If anybody needs one, nobody solves a problem like Maria. There's 2 nuns available from Adrian. I'm having none of that. Well,
apart from like 5 or 6 of them, they were all minted in little baggies inside a big baggie, right? So they're completely perfect. And I just want to sort of indicate that what Craig often says is that you don't have to spend things for lots of money to make lots of money. Like this is just $9.88, but I sold at least one of these a week, every day of the year, every week of the year, for 2 years.
So so you've made like how many?
I don't know what the math is on that.
$300-400 easy. Yeah, and that's the reason you put a lower quantity and limit the market so people will buy them. If you have a bunch of things, you don't want to say that there's 900 available. Yeah. I'm actually surprised that you've done well. 20 and 25 is high for me. I would have listed them probably more like there were only like 8 or 10 available kind of thing, as opposed to 20 or 25. But somebody might have wanted a whole convent, so they wouldn't need.
We tend to not use an even number like 10. We could put 9 or 8.
Yeah, weird number.
The largest sale was a group of 20 to a woman in Sudbury whose sister was joining a convent. She used them as cake toppers.
Oh, yeah.
Expensive. 20 at $9.99 a piece. That's
the funny thing is, I think that a couple of weeks ago, I had that baggy wall that I found all of those bridesmaids. I think those are from the same company, accoutrements. All those colored, the cake topper bridesmaids.
Yeah,
But yes,
somebody had actually colored the.
Oh yeah,
white
so the
one.
ones that were
They
interracial
weren't
couple,
made
somebody
with-
had used brown paint on. So it's like, nope.
So
those
we
are-
had to dispose of all of
Nope.
them.
And then once those two are sold, as Donna said, there are none left.
Oh God.
I'm always on the lookout for more.
But you're out. And now everybody else is going to be on the lookout for them.
That's right.
Michael saying, I actually go and buy other people's cheaper rare books so I can price them all at much higher. Yes, actually, and that's just it. Sourcing, again, that's what we always say when sourcing from Max Sold, sourcing from, no, we could remove the paint, but it wasn't worth it to do all that extra work. It was badly painted.
I don't need another project.
We already have enough projects.
Yeah.
Way more than enough projects for sure. Let me see. Now I'm going to pop over to one of Carl's, and this is actually I'll do this one. This is another one. This is Carl. So a Walkman.
Okay. So I've talked about how I never ever buy another Walkman. So I keep buying Walkmans.
Then you bought a Walkman.
Yeah, I don't know when I got this, but in my defense, I always look up how much they're worth for parts now. And if they're worth it for parts, then I pick them up because I tell you, 80% of them don't work, or they're slow, or they just don't work.
Was this in like a bag, or was it like on a shelf?
No, in a baggie in the electronic section. But when you see the Sony and you see this kind of like that square design, usually it's a good bet. And I think this one had some weird straps on the back that are really good too. Yeah, corrosion. Corrosion bugs me, but not as much as you might think. I tend to clean up the corrosion, and often you can get rid of it. Yeah, those little straps. So I knew, but this kind of like that square design is often worth picking up. Yeah, I always show the battery compartments.
Again, great photos because people are not going to be able to question anything when you're seeing that. There's no rust on the attachments there. So, but when you got it, you couldn't test it though, right? You had to buy it in the baggie and then go, and I get it home, I'll figure out if it's an as is.
Yeah.
So is that how do you judge that? Is it like,
yeah,
if you buy it, it's how much it is, and then you think about this is how much I can get for it with parts, and if I'm lucky and it works, I can get this.
100%. So I want at least $20 for parts or $15 American for parts.
And this one was working?
I think that was for parts. Was that for parts?
It's 4 parts, but you still got $85.
You have to show it, Craigie.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, like I said, see that square design? Like you just kind of like, I just know when I see that it's usually worth picking up. But I find them less nowadays. I think people clued in a bit, but once in a while you'll see a Sony.
I'm just surprised that you got $85 for parts.
For parts, but like it has all that stuff on the back too.
Yeah, that's what I've done before. Is I've actually taken the pieces off of the back, the clips and things like that.
Yeah.
Why don't we walk around with a set of batteries? I have had a set of batteries in my car.
Yeah.
I never bring them into the store. 1, 2. Everything I want to try is in a freaking bag.
Yeah, and then they get upset when you rip them open.
And they don't. I don't want to be that person that's ripping the bag open. So, movies use them as props too. I guess that's true. They could be using them that way. Yeah. So,
I used to think about bringing batteries, but then I realized I'm never actually going to use them. So I want to bring a black light around though. I heard it's really good for finding cracks and stuff like that in pottery. I keep forgetting to bring it. Yeah, I'm going to test it out just to make sure.
Yeah, test that out. A black light for cracks in pottery. I don't know if anybody who's watching does that because we've got quite a few people who are into sort of that more of that decor kind of thing. Do you use how do you check for the cracks in pottery? I know Rick's big thing is pinging things.
Yeah,
but you can only ping a vase, and you don't hear a lot when you ping a vase, right?
Yeah, I should test that.
Well, with the vase, it's like wrapping it with your knuckle.
Oh. And unfortunately, you don't hear anything at all when you buy a towel. It was on end aisle. I saw this thing. I thought it's American Express. I got to pick it up. It was $2.99. And it's like it was in great shape. And so I do really look at beach towels and things like that when they're in look like they have never been used. This is actually old, forgot about. It was on for like 3 years because it literally doesn't even have enough pictures of it to have the back of it or anything like that. But it still ended up selling it for $18. It just took a long time. So, but I always look for things again like this that are like branded in some way because I think there might be somebody interested in that. I just didn't think it would take 3 years for somebody to decide that they needed a towel.
We got really nice positive feedback on it.
We did, yes, we did get positive feedback. That's very true. We did get positive feedback. Now, again, I'm going to a Carl thing now before I come back to an Adrian. This is another one of our sort of standards, but it's a standard that you never want to pass up, and that is
Tarot card.
Potentially tarot cards. So hopefully everybody in there, yeah, you can put water in it to see if it leaks, not in a thrift store.
No, they don't like that either.
You don't want to be pouring water and things in a thrift store. And you can use luminol for blood. Again, maybe not in a thrift store.
So tarot cards are shown 1,000 times. But that is one thing now I will count when I'm in the store because I've thrown out so many packs. And last week I didn't count brand new looking cards. Damn it all, they were missing cards. And so I will now count them because I don't know what
you can actually sell them with missing cards. You don't get as much, but you can sell them.
I've actually tried that. Our thrift store the one that I've found most of our tarot cards at bags them. They put them in the baggie wall. Yeah. So you can't open them up to try and check them. Sometimes I found them at a couple of thrift stores in the book section.
Yeah.
But
no, I opened the bag at the counter. It's like it was like 1 out of 4 packs. And sometimes there's not a lot of margin on tarot cards. Like I will pick up the ones that sell for $25, but I'm definitely counting.
And this that you sold for
$100.
Yeah, you'd want to count those.
Yeah, and those are new-ish, 2005.
That is pretty. Yeah, that is pretty good. Being that.
Yeah. 100 Tabitha Cicero. That's a great name.
So, I was shocked that they sold for this much. To be honest, when I picked them up, I thought I'd be putting it back on the shelf. So,
Rick, can you take Doug and let him out? He's barking.
Yeah. I didn't hear. Sorry.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I'm hearing him now. He's like, rawr, 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 rawr.
He hears my voice. He misses me.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can find them. And again, I did buy some that I thought, whoa, at a flea market, Nightmare Before Christmas tarot cards. Oh my God, how much do you want for these? Didn't look them up. They were like $10. Like, yes, I'm buying them. And I got them home and they're worth $5. Like,
yeah.
But it was like, I just thought, it's tarot. It's Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Halloween. It's everything. Yeah. It's Disney. It's got to be worth 50, 60, 70 bucks. $5?
I'm surprised.
$5?
I would have bought them blind too.
Yeah, that was a completely blind buy on my part. So, and sometimes you have to do things and blind buy them. But there's some things that you don't you don't buy blind, like this that Adrian picked up. Oh, the big dog. Who's that big dog?
I love the eyes.
This is why I'm on this month's show, because my sales are normally like 60% toy soldiers, 40% action figures, right? And I have this sort of random clutter that fills up a few spaces. This was a dog, my pitcher or jug that was given to my sister Allie, and she's like, "This is the ugliest thing in creation." I said, "Don't give it to me. I'll sell it. See what we can get for it." And so I called up my friend Sue, who's a potter, and said, "What is this?" She goes, "I think it's McCoy." I said, "I don't think it's McCoy. There's no way that's McCoy." So I joined a group on Facebook and said, anyone recognize what this is? And the McCoy people said, "We don't think it's McCoy, but it's of that ilk, and it's definitely a collectible piece." I went, "Okay, great." So I put it up at a really low price, considering, and it sold in 2 weeks. But here's the thing: it's like August was like, sell all the weird shit.
But you also auctioned it, which is different for you with something like this, is trying an auction.
Yeah. I thought if it's worth more, it'll go for more, right? Ultimately, I didn't, but still, $34 for something that cost me nothing. It was great. And the shipping was perfect. It was like bang on perfect.
And it did, as you said, it did have, and you did, again, good pictures, like the little chip right in the ear. chip on the handle. So you made sure people could see
Yeah,
all the things that were potentially, and you've got in here. It has a few chips in the glaze on his ear, at the muzzle. So it's actually really good. I don't know. I don't know that name, Lisa. Silvac.
It's ugly. That's what it is. Ugly.
Makes me wonder what it would have gone for if it was perfect, if it went for 35 with a few chips.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting though that nobody else could. They just said it's McCoy like. So you put it in. Let me just see if I can find this again. You put it in a category of just jugs and pitchers, and then hope somebody would find it. You didn't reference McCoy anywhere in it, so somebody.
I don't think it's McCoy, even though my friend Sue says she thinks it is. I just don't think it is. I've seen enough McCoy to think they don't use that darker a glaze. I've never seen them make animal character like that before, because it's not a pretty looking dog.
No, but the interesting thing is, so you put this in an auction just under jugs, which means that somebody was either doing searches for dogs, searches for Toby. So like people were looking up different things in there for you to actually do. So here is my only thing that I would have actually commented on your title.
Yep.
Is I would have actually not put in the 9 by 9 inches in the title and seen if you could use that to give some other descriptor. Well, and I also don't use words like or, and you don't have to use commas because you're in very limited space in here. So even though it doesn't read correctly, it would say vintage, large, dog, pottery, Toby, jug, pitcher, like brown, glossy glaze, and then something else in there. Even if you put the 9 with the inches thing beside it, just some other thing that could say, and like something else that would describe it.
Did I say anything in the description about as to what it was or not?
In your description, you just said large dog shaped, handmade with a glossy glass.
Glossy glass.
I can't decide if he's handsome or ugly.
I said there's a mark under the glaze.
You did put there's mark under the glaze, but it may be McCoy. He's in good shape. He's wet. You've got all of this. What would be really interesting in something like this, this is the other thing that's always interesting to try nowadays, is when you're building this, see what happens if you did this exact same thing with boxer, because it's the type of dog you would use. Yeah. See what would happen if you use the artificial intelligence to describe the item and see what it comes back in with the AI.
It'll save you time, Adrian.
It does save you time. It does make some things relatively weird, though, because I'll just read you one that I have right now. I have this item that is in our drafts at the moment, and I was trying to think, what do I need to do? Now, the AI needs to actually have something against it. Like, you need to fill in a lot of those little item specifics in order for the AI to try and grab something. So I'm trying to see if I can find which one it was that I did. Off the top of my head. No, that's not it. No, that's not it either.
The prison.
I might have already launched it, but yeah, I just did it gave this huge description that was like this beautiful, like it's so flowery, full of crap. But it's an easy way. If you filled out the item descriptions, just try the AI generated and see what actually happens. Again, for the future, figural is a good thing to try and think of.
There we go.
Is another word the good Google keyword. Now, Adrian has a big dog. I have a little dog.
Oh, he's so cute.
This is a Fisher Price dog.
Oh, no.
Fisher Price dog.
It's a little wooden Fisher Price dog. You can see his ears get stuck through the back of his head there, right?
Oh, that's old.
It is old. And the paint is not great on it. There's no markings that say Fisher Price on this.
I couldn't get the gunk out of the base.
But this is like, you can see on his face, he's like, the paint is like kind of he's well worn. But I got $50 for him.
Nice.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I got $50 for him was I went to the site that I often talk about that's on This Old Toy, that is Fisher Price, that helps you with Fisher Price things. And you can look up by character. So I looked up dogs and then found out these are the types of dogs. And this specific dog only came in the Nifty station wagon. There was nothing else that came in other than the Nifty station wagon. And the interesting thing is, other people have these listed right now. I think I saw one there for $120. That's listed right now, the Nifty station wagon. So somebody bid on ours for $50, but you know what? I paid a quarter in a bag at a garage sale where I just grabbed it, and they said, how much for these? A quarter piece. I filled a whole bag, and they said, oh, just $2 for everything. And I knew when I got the dog because it was a wooden thing. So when you look for Fisher Price, again, Fisher Price older things are all wood. So you want to try and see that versus the plastic kind, because that's
sometimes you can see the metal rivet in the base.
Yeah, now sometimes they're painted. They're painted with the bad paint. You don't lick the paint because you can get. But collectors don't. Most collectors
That's
don't.
why he gets things for discounts at garage sales. He licks them so no one else will buy them.
Lead poisoning is worth it, right?
I do not lick things at garage sales.
You leave stuff at them though. You take stuff that's not in the garage sale. You bring stuff in your pockets and you leave it there.
I do leave googly eye things in the garage sale.
We haven't done a Ditch It Dead Dare lately, or this.
No,
year.
We'll have to try and do one this fall. We'll try and do that again. So
if the dog didn't sell, I was going to give it to you to do that.
Oh. Well, hopefully you found a few things there that you may have not thought about. You may look for some little nuns in packages. You may think, I'm going to pick up that Sony Walkman, even though it's in a baggie, because as long as I look it up and I see that parts are worth $25, it's worth $4 for me to pick up, and if it works, it's even more.
Don. Be quiet.
If you do see a Jesus on a cross, make sure you double check. And again, don't be like me and think that's a cheap little label that's on the side. The Armani name is a name that you should look at. I am now, again, thanks to Carl showing us that one in the What Sold This Month back about 4 months ago. Whenever I see these things, I'm now looking at them. There are a bunch that are really cheap knockoffy kind of things that are at the Dollarama.
100%.
So you do have to do a little bit of work when it's something like that. But Rick will list that, and hopefully when we come back to do What Sold in September, we will have sold a Jesus, and we may have sold a few other things that we picked up in the little recent time. So big thanks, Adrian, for joining us here for our monthly sales. Maybe next month you'll sell some more surprises and you'll want to join us again. And again, as always, Carl, we love having you here because, number one, you have consistency in your items, even though you don't think that's a good thing. But two, people like to see the type of stuff you have and the type of questions that you put to why I would buy this on a baggy wall or not. So it would be great if you could give us a big thumbs up. The dog jug is Rockingham. So
really,
yeah.
Google it.
So
What is
if you don't know anything, then you just put it in the craft group as well, and Lisa Boland will tell you. She's really good at finding those kind of things. Yeah. And Michael licks things. That's okay. So now somebody does lick things and has a reason to.
Should I lick Jesus?
Don't lick Jesus. Okay, now that's the good way to end the show.
No.
Thank you so much for being here on our What's Sold This Month. Don't lick the items in a thrift store.
No, I cut my tongue on this toe.
What?
I cut my tongue on his toe.
Oh, you cut your tongue on his tongue. That's it, everyone. I think we're out of here. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you, everyone.
See you again on Two Dogs Digs next Tuesday live. Whoa.
Yeah.